Hi, and welcome to ACT Test Preparation for Science. Today I will be talking about how the test is structured, tips and strategies for taking the test, and resources for helping you prepare for your future ACT test. First thing you need to know, when taking the ACT, the science test comes last. So you will be tired. So make sure this is not you. Okay, that being said, there are 40 questions. You will have 35 minutes to complete the questions. That is approximately 52 seconds per question. And you have 3 different types or formats of questions. You'll have data representation questions, which are graphs and tables. Can you read and interpret? You'll have research summary questions. So there will be a description of an experiment that was done and results. You may have to interpret the results and or the experimental design. You will also have conflicting viewpoints, so mutually inconsistent theories, and you will be comparing them. Now at this point, sometimes your misconceptions or prior knowledge can actually hinder you. So when you read a conflicting viewpoint, please take it at face value. Okay, so what will you see? You'll see biology content, chemistry content, earth and space science, and physics. Now, most of you will not have taken physics yet. Don't fret. And earth science, most of you took back in 8th grade, so it's not very fresh, and it wasn't very in-depth. The good news is, when reading the science portion of the ACT, it is more about technical reading skills than it is about content knowledge. Speed, technical reading, those are the key components to doing well on the science test. So there'll be 3 main groups of questions. There'll be understanding. Can you read it? Can you look at it and understand it? Analyze. Can you draw conclusions or form hypotheses? Can you evaluate, compare or contrast? Or can you give an alternative way something could be tested or an alternative viewpoint? The third type is generalizing. That will have you extend information to a broader context, develop new procedures or predictions for outcomes. So you have 3 different styles, and you'll have to kind of figure out what do you need to do to answer this question correctly. So time, back to time, 35 minutes, 40 questions. So you need to think and move quickly through the test. There's no penalty for wrong answers. If you get to the end and you have 5 left and you have 30 seconds, just fill them in. But the most important thing is your technical reading skills. So how do you know if you have good technical reading skills? Can you understand your high school biology textbook? Do you read your high school biology textbook? Did you understand your high school chemistry and physical science textbooks? If you did not read them, you did not practice your technical reading. If you read non-fiction texts, that practices your technical reading. So let's say in English you may have to do that. You may be reading your social studies book. That is somewhat technical, so the more reading you do in non-fiction, the more you will increase your technical reading skills. One thing you'll notice on the test, they'll put lots of extra information and science jargon for you to wade through to get to your answer. If you read it and you think it doesn't pertain, don't worry about it. Move on. There's a strategy called zapping that you may have learned at a different time. That's when you read the question, and because you have some science background, you can immediately cross out specific answers as wrong. So let's say you read a question, you knew A and C were wrong. Cross them out and never look at them again. Now you're between B and D. So that's zapping. There'll be a lot of questions that will require you to read all 4 choices. They'll be similar, and so you'll need to really read the endings of the answer choices before you can make your decision. And then there'll be other questions where you read the stem of the question and you already know what the answer should be. Then just look for the correct choice. So read only when you need. For example, you may get a data representation question with a ton of information, a graph and a chart. Look at the first question. If it says look at graph 1, then just look at graph 1. Don't do any additional reading. If it says figure 3, just look at figure 3 to answer the question. That way you can save a little bit of time. So when you have the data representation section, there'll be 3 passages, 15 questions total. These are the questions you should be able to answer the quickest. These you probably have the most experience with. You should be answering these questions in approximately 40 seconds. The experimental design, you may have to do some more reading here, but read the first question. If it talks about experiment 1, only read experiment 1. Answer the question, move on. You'll have 3 passages like this, 18 questions total. This comprises the biggest bulk of your test. Maybe start with the experiment questions, do those first, get those correct, spend about a minute per question there. Then move back to the graphs and charts. Do that second. You should be able to speed through that a little faster. Save the conflicting viewpoints. There's only 1 passage, 7 questions, till the end. These are going to be the most difficult questions and require the most reading and maybe rereading. You're going to be comparing and contrasting things. Best thing to do, look at the first question. If it says viewpoint 2, only read viewpoint 2, answer the question for that, then move on to the next. This way you do not confuse the 2 different viewpoints when answering the question, assuring that you can do better on that question. Remember, every question has 1 correct answer. There's no tricks, 1 correct answer. Write all over your booklet, cross things out, underline, circle. Whatever strategies you use when reading, use those same strategies here. Zap if you can. Be aware of your time. A lot of times the ACT will give you negative twists, contradictions, which is not, what would weaken the argument, what is the least common. So watch for those. Circle it, underline it when you see it, so you remember you're looking for the least or the weakest. You may even want to put positives and negatives next to your answer choices to help you to decipher which ones are positive, which ones are negative, which ones would weaken. So here's a data representation question. I have omitted all of the reading at the top because you don't need it. So let's go straight to the question. If data has been collected for a 5th data point in trial 1, what would the velocity have been? So we are extending and predicting here. So we go to trial 1. We're looking for data point 5. We don't have one. We have data point 4, and we're looking for velocity. So we head over to velocity. We notice the pattern, point 2, point 4, point 6, point 8. What should then be the correct answer? The correct answer should be B, 1 meter per second. We're extending following the pattern. Did you have to look at figure 1? Nope, did not have to look at figure 1 or read. See how quickly we can do a question in data representation? Let's move to a research summary. This takes a little longer. So let's start with the question to see where to go. It will lead us. Which of the nitrogen sources in experiment 2 served as a control group? We're going to experiment 2 and we're looking for the word control group. What are our choices? Ammonia, ammonia, urea, urea. So we have 2 choices, ammonia or urea. I head to experiment 2. I start reading. As I read through, I find a part that says to provide a controlled nitrogen source. Half of the tissue samples were placed on a medium containing urea and the other half on a medium containing ammonia. Still, I'm stuck between urea and ammonia. So what do I need to do? I need to understand the whole experiment. So I do need to go back and read the top. As I read through the top, I find out that plants can get nitrogen from ammonia, but they cannot get it from urea. So now I know ammonia is the control. I have 2 choices, because all strains can use it, or because it will inhibit. If it's the control, we want it to do the normal. So the answer would be A, because all strains can use it. So we had to understand what was going on. We had to identify a component of the experiment. This is a research summary. Notice how it took us a little longer. Here's conflicting viewpoints. We are currently missing most of the gradual extinction theory because it did not fit, but our question only asks us about the asteroid impact theory, so that's where we're going to focus. Astronomers recently estimated that only 3%, so it's a small amount, of asteroids with orbits that intersect Earth's have been identified. So we've only identified 3%. The finding adds support, positive support, to the asteroid impact theory by. So we're looking for support. Increasing the likelihood of past Earth asteroid collisions, so that's support. Showing how little astronomers know, that is not support, ZAP B. Providing that iridium-rich asteroids are common, common, that might be supporting. Showing that many asteroids are too small, that is not supporting, ZAP. A, C. Now we should read. As we go back and read the asteroid impact theory, we find out that asteroids and meteorites contain uridium, and because of that, we found the division between the Mesozoic and the Cenozoic era. Well, that's good, and we don't have much uridium anywhere else. It's not normal to be on Earth anywhere else. Okay, so does that help us at all? So let's go back to answer choice A. Increasing the likelihood of the past Earth asteroid collisions. So only 3% we know about. That means 97% we don't. So there's a ton more out there we don't know. Providing that iridium-rich asteroids are common in our solar system. Well, that's probably not going to work because we only know about 3% of them. So we're going to have to go with A. A would be the correct answer. We analyzed the passage and we had to draw a conclusion to choose the correct one. Last slide. Here are our resources. So if you'd like to go to the Champlain Park High School ACT preparation site, here is the shortened link for that. And here is the QR code. Just hold your phone up if you have a QR reader. Focus in on the code and that will take you there. If you'd like to go to Naviance and work on PrepMe, which you were told about during class by one of your counselors, here is the short link for that, the QR code for that as well. PrepMe is a wonderful resource. You take the pretest and it guides your studying. It guides you to learn the stuff that you had difficulty on, and it sets you up to do well on the ACT. I would suggest doing PrepMe and following through the program to increase your scores or to start out with a good, accurate score on the ACT. I also have on the CPHS website, I have some additional things there. I have a practice data representation section. You should spend 45.4 seconds per question, less than 4 minutes for the entire passage. One thing to notice here, this is about circuits. This would be physics or electronics. You may have no knowledge about circuits other than you turn lights on and off in your home, but based on your technical reading skills and your logic, you should be able to answer all of the questions below. And the page below this has the answer choices. This is loaded on that website so you can practice. Also on the website, there are additional resources for each type of ACT test. So for example, if you wanted to look at English, you can find that there. If you wanted to look at reading, you could find that there. Math preparation is there as well. So here's that website. And let's get this in view for you here. Let's see if I can do that. So here's our ACT website. There's lots of resources here for you. Links to ACT's study site, tips and strategy sheets, things that you can download. Sophia is on here. It's another resource for studying for the ACT. Your link to Naviance, the dates of the additional ACTs, our school code, and a place to register for the ACT. So again, this is our school's ACT website. If you have any additional questions about your ACT, please speak to an instructor of a course, a math course, English, reading class, or science teacher, or pop here and visit this website. Thanks for listening. Bye.